Good morning, Earth Anchors. It is spring in the Carolinas. Welcome back to my home, my yard, and the extension of my sustainable and regenerative living space. In this video segment, it really seems to touch on an important topic that impacts every single one of us. And you want to know what it is? It doesn't matter whether you have a garden. It doesn't matter whether you enjoy being in your yard or not. We all eventually have to go outside. We all eventually are going to be invited to an outdoor barbecue, or we're going to go to the park. We're going to find ourselves at the edge of a lake. Sooner or later, we're all going to go outside. If we're healthy and we're even remotely active, we're going to find ourselves outdoors, and every single one of us is going to encounter the natural world in one form or another. And the most pesky problem in dealing with the natural world is what? Insect life, right? The entomology that makes this world, function and work. We need the insects, and we have insects that we value, and we have insects that we have a tendency to consider to be more of a torment and pest than we do consider them to be an asset to the natural world and certainly to our own living spaces. But here's one of the principles that we're going to touch on in Earth and Equus and throughout any of these video series that discuss earth anchoring. Because believe it or not, whether you want to embrace this principle, you will eventually recognize that you need to embrace the principle that all life on this planet is sentient. Come with me in my gazebo. All life on this sphere, in this dimension, and in every dimension is sentient. That's a big concept to swallow. So recognizing that we're multi-dimensional and multi-density beings, and we can talk more about that later. What does that mean? We recognize that the 3D consciousness that we carry now and the fourth density dimensional consciousness that we step into when we're sleeping and we're in dream state, when we're unconscious, when we are chemically altered in various states where we are not in a heavy alpha or beta focus in brainwave states, we open ourselves up to other densities, other dimensions. And when we die, there is no limit to the dimension density that we are capable of. It's really more a vibrational match of what vibration, what current energy we were resonating in. Well, forgive me for deferring for the next step of being an earth anchor. What it really comes down to is the fact that everything around us is alive. The trees are alive, the soil is alive, the microbial life is alive. Obviously, we know that the birds and the squirrels and all things that we like to attract to our yard in most cases are sentient, alive, intelligent, and we can see them respond to us. So are the insects. Now, I can't tell you that every single insect has a valuable property to them, because that personally has not been my area of study. I'm not an entomologist. But I can tell you this, that when you become an earth anchor, you come into a very deep regard for all life, all living sentience. And you have to respect the fact that they all have a right to live. And just as much as we don't want a much higher intelligent, far more evolved and advanced being to see us when passing us by as an insect and a pest, and simply extinguish our life with a quick swish of its backhand or to step on us. So how do we apply that to the next aspect of the work that we're going to be doing as earth anchors, and how we are meant to be intelligent, advanced, more conscious, more anchored beings that walk an evolving sphere from third dimensional density into fourth and on into fifth and higher, as we keep hearing about in this human evolution and ascension movement. Well, what we're going to be working on is a principle called do no harm. Most of you have heard leave no trace, and that is equally a conscious principle. It has to do with being out in nature and treating it with respect. And leaving no trace is absolutely brilliant. But this is a little bit different. This is do no harm. So this video was briefly interrupted by one of my children that was calling to wish me a happy spring morning, which is a regular practice for us. And in the middle of our conversation, she let me know as she squirmed that she thought she was getting bit by a fire ant, which is a problem here in the South. And she kind of squealed and pulled her legs up. So it was a perfect break in the video to segue into the do no harm. Do no harm is to be aware that everything around us, whether we consider it to be a valuable asset to our home, to our land, to our vacation, wherever we happen to be, it has the right to be there with few exceptions. And we're going to talk about the do no harm principle and elevate it in Earth and Equus and in some of the upcoming retreats to the level that you are communicating with that sentient life, whether it be plants, animals, or insects, and be able to better negotiate your relationship so that you don't have to do harm. You don't have to kill something simply because it may be posing a threat to you. You're going to learn how to talk to them. You're going to learn how to negotiate your relationship with them. And this can be done. I'm excited to share more of this with you. I'm back in my garden every day. I come outside. Leading by example is huge. Walking your talk. If you're going to be a teacher and a wayshower and a facilitator of any new practice, and getting outside is absolutely essential to earth anchoring. So upcoming tips and a whole lot of really in-depth and intimate teaching coming up with all of the retreats, but there are still a few spaces open for April 26th to the 28th here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Contact Shelley or I. There is going to be some information at the bottom of the screen. Welcome to spring. Welcome to my garden. Welcome to being an earth anchor.